come again. One person take one person down, but see, trying to wreak out some form of a, I guess, love message. Oh, technically all my posts, I'm doing it in love. Believe me, there's no malice or nothing. We're just telling the truth. We're showing the facts. And if you're educated, like I said, we leave the 99 and go after the one. So we get one person. Look, our job is done. Y'all think we doing this for likes or views? We doing this because we reaching for the stars. Whoever you are, you want something different in your life. Good on you. That means you're willing to what? Accept change. Remember to smile, because your smile makes people they're powerless against you. That's why you're smiling. Why? Because you're reaching for the stars. You're not letting anybody take away your what? Your hopes and dreams. Let nobody steal your joy, right? You have what? That got that joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. You can't describe it really to a person. They would have to want to experience the joy in their heart for themselves. Right there. What do you got? A deep attraction. You have a deep attraction for you reaching for the stars, knowing that you got a joy in your heart. This could be for yourself. Like I said, if this is a love message, then this would be now it's just turned into a self-love message. There's no way a person could love somebody else if there's no self-love. So you can't expect people to love you when you know that they don't even love themselves. And how would you know that? You can tell by their fruit. You could know by how they speak to other people. You could know by how they act around others. You would be able to tell if a person is practicing self-love if you got discernment. And then again, not everybody's allegedly, I'm told, not everybody has discernment, but everybody has to have some form of a level of discernment. Shit, even animals have instinct, some form of discernment, like, oh shit, either I'm going to get eaten or I'm about to eat. Like, even if you watch a National Geographic and you see an animal getting ready to hunt another animal, they have a level of discernment, which y'all try to call instincts, because they don't just chase any old thing and just hop out the bush at any old given time. They wait, and then they pounce. So you wait, which is what? Patience. You'll be able to know them by their fruit. That's what Jesus said. You will know them by their fruit. Look, and then all things are possible with God. See what I mean? Everybody has a level of being able to discern people by their fruit. But then you got people who decide that they want to lie about what's on another person's branch. Right out the gate, if you're around people who decide that they can label another person's branch, you should know by then and there that you should be wary about them, because anybody, even if you're in a group of a bunch of karmic narcissistic people, right out the gate, if you know y'all as a group were mocking and making fun of one person, you got to know when you leave the group, they're doing it to you. It's in their nature. There's no way in the world they're your friends, but what is it that you attracted to them? You want to feel like home? You want to feel like you belong? Look, even King David said, better is one day in his house than 1,000 elsewhere. Choose what doorway you want to be at, because I'm telling you, if you're in this doorway, leave. There could be a person right now who's reaching for the stars like we started, who wants to leave that environment. Good for you. That's the whole point. You have to be able to have some form of what? If you ask, you shall receive. God will show you where you have to separate yourself from. Believe me, he will do it. For the women and always, you can say she, he, whatever. Look, we're not going on technicalities. You understand what it is. Because look, you say there's no gender in this, right? Then put it as you want to put it. You understand this. Being a man, I am both fatherly and motherly. It was built into me. Period. I would help work on the house, and I also would help cook and clean for kids. I could also braid, but I can also do this. It was built in me. Understand? So when I see that, it don't bother me as much as other people who want technicalities. But for you, the simple fact that you're having self-love, things are starting to become possible that wasn't possible. Like, say if you're in an addiction, right? And then you wanted to change. You wanted to reach for something more than your addiction. It would start with the self-love that you would want to have for yourself, the self-respect for yourself, the self-care for yourself, the positive affirmation, speaking life into yourself. Because all things are possible with Christ who strengthens me. I don't know what it is you really, but you're going to get it from somewhere. And I guarantee when you look within, you'll be able to see without. Guaranteed. Because he's in everything. And when you catch that, you'll understand what? What's that say? Believe, begin, become. See what I mean? Right under reaching for the stars. Next one. Powerless under the 8 of swords. Powerless because whatever's behind this door that you're reaching for the stars, you're going to be the initial key because it's your door. Whatever's behind this door for you, it's for you, not for another person. Everybody gets a door, just like everybody gets a gift. You're choosing to look behind the door that God gave you, and you are the key. And what part of the key is loving yourself. You have to love yourself. Why? Because look at the next card. It says, because you matter. Well, yes, you matter. Everybody matters. But there comes a point in time when you have to separate yourself so you can have self-love. Why? Because you matter. And when you start loving yourself, guess what? I guarantee you, you'll be able to see the people who don't love themselves. Not for you to judge them, but you have to keep going for you. Why? Because if you have self-love, you're not going to what? Disrespect yourself. You're not going to belittle yourself. You're not going to talk bad about yourself. And surely, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to let somebody else disrespect you. You will walk away and never say nothing again. And that's your right. Because you deserve respect. Everybody deserves a little bit of it. And you know what? A lot of it, you got to earn it. But if you don't want to get it for yourself, do not expect anybody to give it. Just like self-love. Don't expect anybody to love you. No matter if it's your family. Don't expect any of them to love you if they don't love themselves. And you can tell by a person's fruit if they have love for themselves. It's all over their face. You'll be able to tell the fake from the real. See what I mean? We just said it. And it starts with family. Like again, as I said, 411 over here. This is the information. Somebody needs to hear this. You reaching for the stars, which means what? Eventually you made up your mind. Because you felt something in your heart. When you felt something in your heart because you didn't want to stay in whatever it is, you made up your mind. Now that your mind and your heart are working together, you started talking about it. When you start talking about the change, this is what you got to do. You got to have to be the change. Which is what? Believe, begin, become. So don't just say it in words, do it in action. If you're going to love yourself, show yourself. Because people, this is the one thing Most people don't catch on. So we'll do a little biology. Every microorganism that flows through your body up to your white blood cells, red blood cells, they are a what? A living organism inside of you. When you talk positive to yourself, it does something within yourself and those microorganisms of yourself that changes your person. That's biology. This is why it's important to tell yourself, I love you. Because you can't expect nobody to say it, especially people who don't even do it for themselves. What's next? Queen of Wands. See? Actions speak louder than words. See what I mean? They say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So this door, that's for you to reach upon the stars. You got the key. We can't make you put the key in the door, open up the door, and walk through the door. No. We can't put no hands on nobody. You gotta speak it, and then actions speak louder than your words. If you're telling your body and your microorganisms, think about all the microorganisms. Think about all the organs. Tell your heart, I love you. Tell your lungs, I love. It does something to you. You can hook up neuron sensors to a person's brain, and in neuroscience, they could tell you and show you on a screen through the electro current that runs through all of us. When you sit there and say positive things to yourself, it triggers stuff in your brain. And if it's triggering something in your brain, it has to do it to your whole neuron system. Meaning your white and red blood cells too, because that's mainly the thing that goes through all of us, right? When you speak love to yourself and have love for yourself, it does something to your whole body. It's like you're rejuvenating. Like if lizards can cut off a limb and it grows, so can you in a different way. This is biology. This is why, check this out. Say if you're in a married couple, a loving married couple, never said perfect, right? And you both up to neuron sensors, right? And let's say you started talking love to your partner, right? Now, I don't mean dirty, but telling them how much you care for them and love them. They could see it on the screen because you're both hooked up to it. What it does to the person you genuinely love, it does something to their body. Hearing you say you love them, it does something to their body. But what happens when a person says it but doesn't mean it? There has to be an action behind the words. That's why it's a key. It's like a car. The car doesn't turn on without putting the key in the ignition, correct? The same thing, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go to school for this, but I'm telling you, this is what life and death is in the power of the tongue. This is what it means that. So if you're cursing somebody, guess what it's doing to your body? If you're lying to yourself, what do you think is going to do to the body? I'll tell you an example what it does. It's like a oyster or a clam building a pearl. If you lie to yourself and stuff it, it causes sickness. Some people call it a cancer. And indeed, yes, it is. Because life and death is in the power of the tongue. It hardens inside your body. What? You call it a blood clot. A hemorrhage. Where do you think that comes from? Somebody's doing something. So right under you matters, it says every day is a gift. This is what you believe. That's why it's in reverse. You're realizing because why? Like I said, here's the topic. Better is one day in his house than 1,000 elsewhere. Say if you were in your addictions, you're realizing when you walked away from your addictions that every day now, from this day to the next, is a gift. That's why this is in reverse. Right above it is because you realize you matter, and right above that is because you starting to love yourself. When you love yourself, you realize you matter. You don't need nobody to tell you you matter. And that's when you start realizing every day you're given is a gift to do what? To love yourself. Then you could love others. You cannot love yourself. You can't love another person if you don't love yourself. The only way you can know how to love is like you have to find the source. Because human love is not actual love. It comes from somewhere else. Even Jesus, what was the new commandment? This new commandment I give you, love one another as I love you. You have to dig in and do the research yourself to figure out, how does God love me? How does Jesus love me? Ask these questions. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door should be open. If you don't ask, you can't get. But since you want to reach for the stars, I guarantee you, you are desperate inside your heart, inside your soul. You are desperate enough to go to God's door and say, can you show me? You don't have to go in nowhere. No, go to God just as you was. Can you show me how you love me that I can love myself? That's simple. That's simple. Last one. Victory. Victory in Jesus, right? Check it out. Every expert was once a beginner. One step at a time. Why? Because actions speak louder than words. We can stop it right there. We ain't got to pull no more. Somebody needed to hear this. Whatever you're doing that you changed your mind to walk away from whatever that tent was, the tent of the wicked, if that's how you want to do, start with yourself. How about your old man? Your old man would be a tent, right? A tent would be used as what? As a house in this day and age. Your old self. You leaving your old self to go to your new self, which means what? That's from a house to a different house, if you want to put it that way. You decided that it's better to go be at that door than even in your own self. Why? Because you want a new self. That's why you're reaching for the stars. That's why you want to change. That's why you want away from your addictions. Somebody needed to hear this, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody wants to hear this. Somebody needs to hear this. And it all comes back to when you start having some form of self-love. Ask and you shall. I'm serious about this part. Ask and you shall receive. Within your thoughts, even your heart can ask God. Ask God with your heart. It takes baby steps. Some people are convinced to be embarrassed to open up their mouth to talk to God. So start with your heart. Once your heart starts doing it, then guess what? Your mind's going to start believing every time you use your heart to talk to the living God, then your mouth is going to do it. When the heart and the mind are together, the tongue is going to do what the mind and the heart is. And then eventually you're going to wind up seeing yourself opening up your mouth to talk to God about asking him, how do you love me so that I can love me the way you love me? And then you stretch out to others. And like I said, you can't go to school for this. I've listened to multiple preachers over and over, and I mean for years, never heard them say anything about this. Never heard any one of them talk about love yourself. And I've listened to a lot of sermons. It's possible to love yourself. You cannot express it to nobody else if you don't love yourself. Self-love is a part of it. They keep.